As we discuss, a lot of the problems that's with our community when in relation to the voting and politics and definitely with the Democrat Party is definitely amazing how much abuse that black people feel they should take, and they feel that it should be their part of life. And the more and more I look at the majority of our community is that they still have a perpetual slave mentality where they want to make sure everyone else gets served and they don't get served at all. And it just amazes me the more and more I look into that. So they came out with a report here about black people being the most affected by inflation. Now, inflation has for sure touched everybody, and it's hit 8.5% in the U.S. alone last month. And black people have suffered the most from inflation. But as they're talking about, black Americans are among the most affected. They said they continue to give support to Joe Biden. They say the highest approval rating among any demographic group for his handling of the economy. They say Biden has lost less support among black voters than among other racial minorities. They say in whites, they say Biden, of course, won 87% of the black vote in 2020. They say his standing among black Americans remains higher than any group, but it has lost ground, as we talked about before. They said that a poll analysis from Quinnipiac University, it was a recent poll, showed that inflation, racial inequality, and election laws are the most urgent issues. They say for black Americans, they said that prices have gone up. It said by a strong demand, pandemic-related supply shortage, and the cost of energy. I believe that to be false. From what I'm seeing, these corporations, they lost money for the past, almost 2 years. So they're playing a game to drive the prices up. I mean, it's just bottom line, all of them doing it. It's not just one, it's all of them. Like I say, y'all don't know the games they play in business. And they say rising prices has, affected, definitely black Americans. It said, but polling and research shows inflation is particularly devastating to lower income households, as they are more exposed to the goods with the fastest rising prices. They said, that's according to Bank of America, say inflation hurts lower income households, namely less educated and rural households, those with non-managerial workers and minorities the most, according to what Bank of America reported. Now, Wall Street Journal last month showed that non-white voters are more likely than white voters to say inflation is causing major financial strain in their lives. Now, they say black women, which we know we have a lot of single mothers in our community. So they're saying black women, they say, and Hispanic men. They say both at 44% reported the highest proportion of major strain among various demographic and gender combinations. They say some political strategists believe Biden still has support of many black Americans because the Democrat Party's priorities align with their concerns. Now, they say, and I quote, when we see them attacking the very things that give us the opportunity for upward mobility, it said, we understand that they are not on our side. That's a Brandon Upson, chairman of South Carolina Democratic Black Caucus. He said, when they turn a blind eye to the issues that face us, we know that we're not their priority. Let's get into that, because we stuck between a rock and a hard place when it comes to voting in America. Let's be honest. The reason a lot of black folks don't vote Republican and are not Republicans is just bottom line. Republicans, they have some things that I can agree with all day long. When they talk about family, when they talk about, men being the head of the household, fatherhood, being against this agenda, being pro-business and definitely promoting small business. And parents, making sure they are in control of everything with their children, things like that. I'm with the Republicans all day long. But realistically, most black people will not be on Republicans at all unless they're just doing a protest vote, because when you're doing open gerrymandering, I mean, the Republicans basically just openly I don't want black people to vote at all. I believe voting is a right. And you have a right to vote and you have a right to not vote, but it's still a right. And I don't think that right should be taken away from you. But like what's going on in a lot of these Republican states, because of the gerrymandering that they're doing, like Florida right now just eliminated, I think, 2 districts or so, with black people, 2 black districts, and added Republican. Republican ones. Of course, they said they're going to sue about those maps. I think those maps are the most corrupt thing ever. I always thought that. I say because no party should be able to draw maps. I don't care if it's a Republican Party, Democrat Party. That should be drawn on a federal level. Like the federal government should be drawing maps, and those maps should be equal. Like the same amount of Republican districts, the same amount of Democrat districts, or whatever. It should be equal. It should not have more than one group than the other. Now, when they were talking about this voting rights bill, there's one clause in that bill when I looked at it. The only thing I did agree with that bill on is with this. When they wanted the independent council to draw the maps in all the states, I agreed with that. I thought that was fair. That part was fair. So that's that's one of the things. Then the Republican Party is they cop worship too much. You know, they cop worship, and you know where that's going to go. Then they just open white supremacy, right? So that's a lot of reasons why black folks won't just can't really be outright Republicans. Because if you just outright a Republican, you got to deny the obvious that's going on in that party. You have to deny that, and we can't deny the obvious. You know, that's why a lot of the average black person just can't get with the Republican Party, even though we agree with a lot of things that Republican parties promote. And they don't want, and it seems like they don't want to change that. They don't want to say, you know what? Okay, let's really get these other people in here. They agree with a lot of our things, but we got to get rid of these things here. Why? Okay, they have an attitude of, shoot, black people just vote Democrats, or shoot, what's the point of them voting? They're not going to vote for us. So let's just, disenfranchise them. Now, on the other side, the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party won't disenfranchise you from voting. They want you to vote because of course, they say 87% or so black people vote the Democrat Party. Democrat Party is cool with you even getting in Congress. They cool with you getting in the Senate. They let you participate. But what stops you with the Democrat Party is you can't do nothing for black people. You got to be on, left-wing white supremacy. And whatever their agenda is, and their agenda is, the alphabet mafia agenda, and everything else that we really don't agree with, in our community like that. And you got to be on that agenda. So regardless of what party that you're supporting, you really can't really be for the people, like black people, like that. You really can't. Not at that national level, at least. Now maybe locally you can do certain things. But we just being 100. I'm always going to keep it 100 with y'all about political parties, why black people do what they do. My thing is, I can't do Democrat because they don't do nothing for us. Republican, they ain't doing nothing either. Nobody doing nothing for black people. That's why I say we should strategically vote. We should, especially the Democrats, we have to teach them a lesson. I'm a firm believer teaching the Democrats a lesson. Because I'm not going to vote for a group of people because you let me participate, but you give me nothing. Like if 87% of black people voted for Democrats, we expected something and we got nothing at all. But the reality is a lot of black people will still go vote Democrat. I told y'all that religion of Democrat and white Jesus is like a brand. It's like black folks were branded with that in their minds. Vote Democrat, worship white Jesus. Vote Democrat, worship white Jesus. You gotta vote, or you're gonna go to hell. And that's that kind. They have a religious dedication to voting Democrat and to white Jesus. We know white Jesus is the God of white supremacy. We know that. We know that. We know that. We know that. So continuing. They say about a year ago, they said Biden's approval among black registered voters was 87%. Now it's 69%. And the only reason it's 69% is because the grassroots black media has been out here just telling the truth. And to the point that it's gotten to the ears of the masses, and they're like, wait a minute, hold on. They haven't done nothing for us. Understand? Now, this brother saying, I quote, Joe made it to the White House because of black voters. And although there are some black activists who are upset that he has not gone to the mat in certain ways, that they thought they would like, it said the large majority of black Americans still approve of his job as president. The black activists are really the ones that know the pulse of the community. I'm talking about the true ones. And they're upset because he hasn't done anything. But the majority of black people, what this man is saying is true. I know my people. It's true. The majority of black Americans still approve of Biden. We got to accept that. The majority of black folks still going to vote for the Democrat Party. Now, we have more and more black people wake up, and that's good. But, we can't expect some major upset in the midterms. Now, I'm not saying people won't sit it out. I'm not saying that. Because on average, a lot of people don't even show up to midterms anyway. Let's call it what it is, especially in our community. But don't be surprised if they show up and they put the same people back in office. Like you got Brother Marcel that's running in South Carolina. Gets on Clyburn. Clyburn not even respecting the man to even give him a debate. Why don't you respect the man to debate him? He like, I ain't worried with him because he ain't worrying with him because he feel that, hey, I got a few $1 million in my back pocket. The Democrat Party, they gonna take care of me. They gonna sabotage him because I got to see how the Democrats work. I got to see how the Texas Democrats work. When they have their person, they're bought and paid for a black person, and they gonna keep them in office. And they're going to sabotage any candidate that comes their way. And just keeping it 100. Now, they said that 54% of black people participated, they say, in the NBC News poll that say of adults in March said they approve of Biden's handling of the economy. Comparatively, 28% of white people and 36% of Hispanic people polled said they approve. And like, okay, white folks, even in this time period, still has more advantage. And yet they saying that they're not approving. Black folks have the most disadvantage, and yet we're approving what Biden is doing? How? We talking about the collective. We're not talking about y'all that listening here. We know y'all, the smart men and smart women. Y'all see it for what it is. Y'all get thoroughly educated in politics. Y'all know what they doing, what they're not doing, because y'all get a steady diet of it, right? But we talking about some of those average black Democrat voters. I've heard them call shows, and my God, I hate to say this. And God forgive me. But a lot of our people, when it comes to politics, they are so remedial. They're remedial. They don't know anything. They don't know what bill been going on, what Biden has done and what he hasn't done. They don't know anything. And then when you educate them, like, oh, I didn't know that. But okay, so why you just running to go vote for Biden for? You got Google on your phone. You got whatever you want to research on your phone, right? You can't find out for 5 minutes what these politicians are doing. Oh, well, I didn't think of it like that. But you're going to just run out and go vote for him for no reason. This is why a lot of people look at us as a collective as politically stupid. Because you just on autopilot. Once again, vote Democrat and white Jesus. That's what we on. And that's why it's so programming the black people. That's why the Democrat Party don't even worry with us like that. They don't worry with us like that. Why should they worry with us? We don't even know half the things they're doing. So why should they worry? Now, there was a woman by the name of China Dickerson. She's a Democrat political strategist in Washington, said Biden's decline in support among black voters should be of concern to the Democrat Party here in the midterms. She said, I actually think in this very unusual case, Democrats have an issue with Democrats. She said, I think the midterms are going to see the backlash of how folks feel about Democrats, not how folks feel about Biden. Democrats are disillusioned with Democrats. And she said also the rising cost of gasoline, groceries, and housing have contributed to the disillusionment. But she claims Biden isn't to blame. Well, the way it works is he or she who's in leadership get the blame. You can't point the blame because he was always pointing the blame at Putin. He pointing the blame at the Republicans. No, dude, you the president. You're the president. You can't point blame at nobody else. You're the president. You have to take that on the chin and say, hey, yes, there's some circumstances that happen, but I'm the president and it falls on me and I got to fix this situation. But what we're looking at here, like I said, we are, almost, not too long. We'll be done with April. We're going into May. These midterms will be coming up pretty quick. And like I told you before, I want to see how black people move. I want to see how they move. At best, I hope a lot of black people sit it out. I really do. I'm not expecting them to do a big protest vote. I'm not expecting that. Some black people are upset to do a protest vote. And it's not that they support the Republican Party. It's not at all. They just wanted to stick it to the Democrats and want something down on paper to quantify that they stuck it to the Democrats. Because, they're going to quantify that and see how many black people voted for Republican and all of that, male and female, in which the Republican Party has been getting increased votes from black people. Once again, I will say to the Republican Party, if you're listening, you're going to have to change some things up and you would get a lot more votes from black people. But you got a white supremacist wing in your party and you don't want black people to vote. Well, shoot, if more black people want to start voting for Republican, you're actually stopping them from voting for Republican. Be honest with you, with the gerrymandering you're doing. I mean, shoot, you're hurting your own self. I never even understood that. I believe that the better party just need to present themselves and give everybody a chance to vote if that's what they want to do. And if they don't want to vote, they don't want to do it either. Now, like I said, the situation with Title 42, with Biden trying to get rid of the pandemic era of Title 42 that kept people, out of this country, just flooding the country. Well, he's trying to get rid of that. Now, Republicans been against all that. And of course, we because they said that when people come, they said they go to low skill work and that usually hurts. They say just statistically, we're talking about statistically, it hurts black workers more. Statistically, if you are in those fields. I'm a firm believer that black people, we should not be in those fields. We should, apply ourselves enough where we are making higher, earning jobs or having our own business. And then you don't have to worry about nobody taking nothing from you or invading any kind of space. But at the same time, America, like any other country, has rules and laws. I can't just go to South Africa and just show up and be in there illegally. And then, I get caught and I want to get mad, act like I belong there. You know what I'm saying? And no, it's certain rules and regulations that you got to follow. And these people don't want to follow that. Now, at the same time, I will say, just by studying, the movements of white supremacy is the reason why those people's countries are the way they are, too. And you talk about all this drug trade and all that stuff. The white supremacists are behind that, too. And they're benefiting off of it, too. That, you know what I'm saying? Like, trust me, if they wasn't benefiting, there was Sunday Army down there to stop it. I promise you. They can put a stop to all that illegal, drug trade, all of the human trafficking, all that stuff that they got going on. They can stop it tomorrow if they want to, and they do not because they benefit from it. You got politicians that's all involved and making money off of all that stuff. Politicians right here in America are in bed with all them people. Trust me on that. Some of them have even got indicted that you don't even know about, local sheriffs and all kind of people. You know what I'm saying? Local politicians, it's all involved with it. That's why it goes on. Even the immigration thing, people are involved. So they're making money off of it. So yeah, that's just really what it is. For one instance, they may be talking about they're against it, but some people in that same Republican Party are benefiting from it. You know what I'm saying? So all them politicians are corrupt. They're corrupt. They're evil. And I'll tell you, in this system of white supremacy, we call it Babylon for a reason, folks. It's nothing they do is righteous. Even when it seems like they're doing something righteous, it's something evil along with it. That's why from what I say to y'all all the time, you can't reform Satan. You just can't do it. Satan is who he is. He gonna be evil to the day that he ain't gonna be, he's eternally, cast, into the lake of fire himself, right? He can't be nothing else. He can't. And we know white supremacy is a doctrine of demons. We know it is. You can't reform that. This is why this has been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years. And I know some of the talking, not talking points, but I know some of the beliefs and how people feel. But the older I get and the more I see, I believe that God don't want his people trying to, beg and reform Satan. I know that to be true. And how is it that even when you get away from them, even a few days to a week, your health is better, your stress go down, you're eating better, you're looking better, the sun hitting you different, everything is different when you're away from them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, these people's system is spiraling down. And even Honorable Elijah Muhammad wrote a book called about the fall of America. I mean, it's going to happen. And the problem is that some of you are so invested and not thinking that, you understand our people is indigenous to the planet. I'm gonna repeat that again. Our people is indigenous to the planet. Don't put your foot in one thing and think that's it. Even when they talk about financially, they say don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's like all your finances is based on a job. If they fire you on that job, then what you gonna do? And people, I'm telling you, I'm studying this all the time. I'm watching this. Like they're saying that right now, it's a major Black American brain drain that's happening right now. I read a whole deal about it. A lot of real smart and professional Black people are getting out of here. You know what I'm saying? They say, look, I'll come back, visit friends and family. I'll do my thing. But I am not fooling with this place because it just the high taxes, the agenda, the crime, the this to that. They mentioned definitely the white supremacy. How and most people that I saw, they talked about George Floyd was the stick that broke the camel's back for a lot of them, from what I read. And a lot of these people say they never thought about seeing what else they can do somewhere else. They said when they seen George Floyd and they seen him just the way he was, basically lynched on camera and what it took to even get shot and convicted, they say, you know what? No. They talking about Black women in maternity and how a lot of Black women are dying in childbirth and all of that. And, I would listen to some sister say, I would never have my, child here and say, unless it's a Black doctor and they in complete control, because even laying down, having a child, they was talking about how, that is wrong. They was talking about actually our ancestors stood up, to have children. And if you think about it, the force of gravity would make the child come out faster anyway, instead of laying you down. They always talking about C-sections and all that stuff, but they do all that just to make more money off the insurance. They're so quick to talk about a woman need a C-section. God has made women to have children naturally, not no freaking C-section. If you stop laying them women down like that and do it the way the ancestors said did it, where they had stood you up to do it, you never heard about that, back in that time period, so, but the white man think he knew everything and he don't. So I'm just doing more research into that. I'm just seeing more and more articles pop up about that. And I know some people may tell you, oh, this is our land, we built it. And it's true, we did. We're U.S. citizens, yes, and we got every right and privilege of America. But I'm going to keep saying that my comeback to that is we don't run it. We don't run it. We don't run it. And sometimes people say, well, we got to fight. Well, we have previous fighters. And I'm not saying not to fight, but we have people that fought and lost their life. People that was way more dedicated than a lot of people today. I promise you that, and even though we had people like Malcolm X, Khalid Muhammad, I'm talking about people that was some, really out there. You know what I'm saying? You could take it from Malcolm to Khalid Muhammad to somebody like Martin Luther King, right? You could take it to people like him. You know, you look at the Minister Farrakhan. You know, I listen to some of the things the minister talk about. I'm like, and sometimes I was sitting there just thinking about it one day, really listening to the minister, listening to Dr. Amos Wilson, listening to Dr. Francis Cress Wilson. And I'm sitting here just listening and I'm taking in everything they're saying. And I'm like, man, all the people that came my way, we should be so much further than what we are. It's like the Lord gave y'all oracles and prophets, literally. Even you want to go in politics, Dr. Claude Anderson. You know what I'm saying? That brother told us exactly what to do on a political level, and we still ain't done it as a community. So what much more do the Lord need to give us at this point? That's how I feel about it. We don't need no more Malcolms and Martins and Dr. Amos Wilson. We really don't need those kind of figures anymore, because it's kind of like follow the word that came through them. Why don't we follow that? You know, on this politics side, you know, like the Dr. Claude Anderson was so he predicted this situation with immigration. He predicted everything. He predicted it. He told us what we needed to do. The books are still out there that we all can read it and get on code, nearly full of toes about a code. I mean, so many people that if y'all don't think about how many people we have been blessed to have, and what ended up happening to a lot of them people? They got killed. Some of them got older and died, you know, with nothing. Some of them, you know, ostracized. You know, they were ostracized. Some of them by their own community. We already know white supremacy gonna ostracize them, but even their own community, you know. And you know, I look at things like that, and I think very, very hard about a lot. You know, the more I look at things. And that's why I always tell y'all, I say, you have to start thinking in an individual level for your personal family. I'm talking about Black people. And you're going to have to start, you know, really saying, where do I want my life to end up? And I want to make sure I always choose peace. Because there's a lot of lost people in our community. Like, are you going to be battling with them to the day you die? And then you're going to look up on your deathbed like, what in the hell have I done in my life? But battle with people that don't want to do nothing, stuck in situations that trying to change the devil, and the devil not going to change. My whole life I was stressed out my whole life. Never had no peace, never had nothing. You know, let everybody talk me out of something I wanted to do. Let everybody talk me out of even traveling places. You know what I'm saying? My whole life, I was just stuck in the same neighborhood. Didn't go nowhere. And dealing with the same issues and problems. Dealing with the devil all the time. Y'all got to think. I'm telling y'all, you really need to think about your life. Think about it. Think about what you want to do within the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. Think about that. And do you still want to deal with the same things you're dealing with today? Tomorrow? You got to think about you and your wife and your husband and your children in our community, because we don't really think about ourselves in that manner. Other groups of people, like say when I'm traveling, I see travel places, whatever, you know, white folks, they enjoying themselves. Arabs, they enjoying themselves. Asians, different Asian groups, they enjoying themselves. But my people, no, we need to start doing that too. And enjoying yourself to me is not getting sloppy drunk, not being high on drugs or marijuana or whatever. I'm talking about really just do something. You know what I'm saying? Because this system will tear you apart and put you in the ground. And then this system going to continue doing what it's doing but it's full of the devil. So y'all need to think about it. All this Democrat things and all of the white Jesus and all of that. Think about it, folks. Just think about what I'm telling you. Think. But we thank you for coming to the podcast. We greatly appreciate it. It's your first time coming by. Make sure you subscribe. Subscribing, you'll know exactly when we post another podcast. Make sure you click that like button. That's very, very important to do that for the algorithm. And if you enjoy the platform, make sure you leave a love offering. We greatly appreciate that. We got a Cash App, and super chats are awesome. Thank you for that. Or super thanks after the fact. We also appreciate that as well. So we appreciate you coming by. I know you could have had many choices of listening to a podcast. You decided to come here, and we'll see you next time.